So I guess the question on everyone's mind is, what happened to the liquid cooling? Because that was like the whole thing last year, and this year no liquid cooling.
Okay, okay.
What happened?
Well, it's interesting that you asked that. So thanks for being familiar with our products. The liquid cooling was actually for a specific purpose, right? It was for specific purpose of delivering very high-end product, right? Which is above 200 watts. That's like we're looking at about 230 watts on that Legion 9i, right? So it's to deliver a device that's above 200 watts and yet reducing the product thickness and the weight to just that 18.9 millimeters, right? So because of that, it requires for us to look at a different way of cooling, and that's how liquid cooling was developed. Now, the cold front hyperchamber today that we have launched, it's for a different purpose. If you notice across the range of products that we launch, right, it's actually the mainstream products and below. These are all not the highest end processors available, right? These systems are up to RTX 4070, right? Total TDP of RTX 4070 rated on NVIDIA is 140 watts, right? So it's a different class of graphics and CPUs that's being run off these systems, and hence then that's where cold front hyperchamber comes in, right? If putting in a liquid cooling into something which is mainstream would then be over engineering.
But at the top of the range now, you've got the hyperbaric chamber instead of liquid cooling. So is that saying that the new top of the range is now less premium than last year's, or just that you're trying to chase a different?
Yeah, so it's not exactly top of the range. The hyperbaric chamber is on our slimmer products, right? So we're talking about the Legion 5i, 7i, and the Lock, right? Lenovo Lock. These are the same slimmer class of products. We have a different class of products which are the Pro Series and the Legion 9i, and these are all above 200 watts. So we're looking at two different customer segment altogether, right? And a product segment, right? On one hand, the hyperbaric chamber is on those which are really meant for thinner and lighter mainstream gaming, whereas the Pro Series and the Legion 9i, they are all really over-engineered. Like they're engineered without compromises to make sure that we can deliver above 200 watts, right? So the difference is this, right? Say if you're a content creator, okay, and if you do huge videos that requires or even say, for example, even AutoCAD, right? Okay, and you need to render something that requires hours. Now the difference is something which is on the thinner lighter chassis will not be able to have the sustained power load, high wattage across such long period of times, whereas the Pro Series, right, you will be able to see the power curve being at a peak for much longer time, right? So this translates into performance. So really, across our gaming lineup, they are all powerful machines. It's just different price points, different amount of performance.
So is liquid cooling being phased out, or is that still something you'll look at for the Pro Series?
Okay, the R&D team we are actively looking into different forms of how we can better innovate. But I would say that something which is very exciting for us this year, and that's why we've brought it out, right, is on the hyperchamber cooling. I think you should expect more of hyperchamber going into a lot more products, possibly even across the other product categories. The interesting part is how do we marry some of these technologies that we have over the years of innovating our thermal system, right, to marry them together, and what kind of products that we are going to be driving the market.
And so AI is like obviously a big overarching theme for both Yoga and the Legion lineups this year. On the big AI is everywhere slide, there was mention of gaming. Can you give me an example of how AI is actually being used by gamers?
Okay. Well, just within our machines itself, right? I've mentioned that from 2021, we have introduced this technology called the Legion AI engine, right? And over the years, we have enhanced it to be Legion AI Engine Plus with an AI chip. So today, all our Legion products do have an AI chip embedded in the motherboard, right? So what this AI chip does is that there is certain machine learning that's that's running in the background, right? And the machine learning, of course, you have to activate it, right? It doesn't work, doesn't run all the time, right? But I can show it to you later. When you activate balance mode and with the AI engine, the AI chip does machine learning computation to know, and it monitors all the sensors that you have on the system, right? Temperature sensors, all the input outputs. It monitors CPU, GPU usage utilization. It measures the power that's being driven to some of these components. And in different games that you launch, some games actually utilizes the CPU more than the GPU, right? More than other games. So depending on the actual game itself, balancing power, right, total envelope of power in the system, it's normally limited, right? So having the same amount of power envelope, do you send it a bit more to the CPU, or you drive everything to the graphics? This is something where when the AI chip does that predictive algorithm for you, you can actually improve your frame rates that comes across. So as a user, the premise is very simple, right? You just turn this chip on, it does the machine learning. What you do is you just game, right? But you'll be assured that you're getting the highest frame rates at all times. And this is how one AI aspect, that gamers can enjoy a benefit from AI. Well, another. I'm not sure if you've seen the latest GTC, NVIDIA GTC, right? Today a lot of games you notice that you're playing some role-playing games, right? The interaction normally is okay. You walk up to an NPC, right? And then the NPC says something, okay, asks you a question, and then gives you 3 options for you to choose A, B, or C, right? And then you reply with something, and then based on your reply, the NPC will then trigger the next line of dialogue, right? So that's how traditional games are being programmed, right? But the possibilities of AI is very wide, right? At a recent GTC, NVIDIA have shown that what if games could now use artificial intelligence, okay? When you're walking up to a bartender, right, and the bartender poses you a question, it's open-ended, and then now you have a chat box, okay? And then you are, going to reply, say, hey mate, howdy hey. And then the bartender is going to reply back to you something else, hey mate, how you doing, right? Ahoy there, right? So the games in future with AI are not going to be the kind of games that we've played growing up, right? Can you imagine the possibilities, right? You could then have a very natural way of interacting with characters in game, right? That's just they've showed the demo, right? And it's actually I'm very excited by it, because that's just opens up a possibility of games being a lot more lifelike, right? And then with such lifelike interactions with your game in your gameplay, I can imagine that it can be very immersive. Yeah.
So with the Legion AI, does that need to be software driven? Does the developer need to provide information to the AI for the AI to be able to optimize, or is that all on the Lenovo side of things?
Sorry, can you?
So do the games need to have Lenovo API or something inside of it that then feeds information to your AI? Or is your AI taking care of that all on device?
You mean that whole algorithm of distributing the power?
Sorry, I'm just wondering whether or not the developer has to.
Oh, so that developer for that game, you mean that game itself? Yeah. Okay, no. So that's a tech demo by NVIDIA at the recent GTC. I don't think it has made it to an actual game yet, but yes, I think many of the game developers are looking at using AI to do this kind of game algorithm. How it's actually being worked, it's a tech demo at this point. It's concept, right? But I can't share with you more of the details. But
you would hope that the game is able to use the AI processor to do a lot of that natural language conversation on device rather than having to send it to the cloud.
Of course, yes, of course. Okay, this I understand.
If modern day AI chips locally are actually smart enough to do that yet.
Oh, well, actually, NVIDIA's if you just see NVIDIA graphics, right? The NVIDIA graphics comes with tensor cores, right? And the tensor cores does a lot of the predictive algorithm currently available, right? Say for example like DLSS, right? DLSS is an example of how they use the tensor cores to try to generate they generate frames, right? So that's already an example of AI, and with yeah, and it's I believe it's a possibility of using some of these tensor cores to actually do the AI algorithm. But maybe like I said, it's a tech demo, right? But I do believe that many of the game developers are looking in this direction too.
What were you going to say?
Yeah.
Oh, no, it was more of a thing where the other half of it is just that if it's on device versus on a server, you're shrinking your market for the game.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. But I mean, every computer's supposed to come with AI built in, so we should give it a question. Yeah.
I have a question back on cooling. So with the Pro 9i, for example, can a RTX 4090 run flat out without any thermal throttling in that, or will it still eventually throttle itself from heat?
I believe our 4090 on the Legion 9i does not throttle. It's actually powered because 4090 4090 with Advanced Optimus, sorry 4090 with NVIDIA Dynamic Boost,
Yeah.
right? It caps out at 175 watts.
Yeah.
Right, and because our system is actually powered to 230 watts.
Yeah.
Right, 230 watts. So if you do the power calculation, right, 175 with the CPU about 55, you get so 230 watts allows you to run both CPU and the graphics, right, at its 175, and it should not throttle.
Yeah. Okay. So the 230 watts, it can sustain that for a long period of time.
Yes, that's right.
Okay. Another question from a different direction. Those laptops, they all can charge from USB. So they do 28 volt 5 amp.
Yes.
What other voltages do they support?
Well, okay, I have to get back to you on this. I don't have the numbers on hand, but what I can say is our systems are rated for 140 watts.
Yeah.
140 watts, but at the top of my mind, I can't remember if it's 20 amps. 20 volts.
Yeah, so
7 amps.
It'll definitely support 20 volts, I'm sure, but I was
Yeah.
just curious if it supports lesser voltages as well.
Oh yes,
That's
okay,
what I
yes.
was- yeah.
So the answer is yes. So I believe our system is okay. I don't have all the numbers
Yeah.
at hand, but I do remember that it is supported up to, so it's 100,
Yep.
140, and I believe 65.
Yeah, okay.
It just
Yeah,
makes
so
it charge
it's
slower,
not
right?
It's,
If you have a lower.
so it's more about if you can charge it from, say, 5 volts, like as a backup option.
Yes.
Whereas some laptops will charge on 5 volts, some won't, some need 12 volts, like that sort of thing.
Yes. Let me get back to you on this, but I understand where your question is. Essentially, if you end up with a Legion notebook and you are stuck with a ThinkPad X1 Carbon's power adapter, which is 65 watts, the question is whether can it charge.
Yeah.
I think the answer is yes. However, it will take a very long time to charge and use it at the same time. But it can, yes.
It was more about backup charging. No, I do a lot of USB testing, so I'm always curious about that.
Yeah, but we try to, for when you are getting the Legion, right? I think that's what we really look into. We want to make sure that, these are quality of life features, and we really do spend the engineering effort to make sure that it works.
Yeah.
Yes.
And one more question: when running on battery power, what's the maximum wattage it can run at on battery power, like GPU and CPU?
Okay. Wow. This is
Technical.
very technical. Okay, I don't have the numbers on hand. I'm sorry. Okay, I don't have the numbers on hand. Which it depends on the product that you're asking also, right?
Yeah.
But what I can say is that it's a very good question, right? Because not a lot of brands do consider whether you can actually game at high performance on battery, right? This actually requires us to over-engineer right? Our battery. So it requires for a different kind of battery to be
Yeah.
enabled onto our Legion, because you have to, the discharge of the
Yeah.
battery needs to be high
Yeah,
powered
high
enough,
secret.
right? And for across our Legion products, right, our battery, it's designed for high output to be able to sustain gaming. Yes.
Yeah.
So the answer is
Okay.
yes, but I can't get, I'm not
Yeah.
sure of the numbers. Yeah.
So I'll email some more.
Sure.
detailed
Yes.
questions.
Okay, I could get the numbers. Yeah, but we
Yeah.
have the numbers. Yeah, from our
Yeah.
engineering guys.
Awesome. Thank
Yes.
So
Okay.
what's the new, what's it called, hypercooling?
Hyperchamber.
Hyperchamber?
Yes.
So with the hyperchamber, besides the orientation of the fan being changed and also the sealing, has there been any improvements or changes with the blade, the fan blades or design or anything like that?
Oh yes, we actually do develop. We tweak our fan blade slightly, but I would say that that's just a small part of the overall hyperchamber. I believe that the biggest change actually do come from the chamber design itself. The fans are actually slightly tweaked from last generation, but for the fans, the benefit of the fans is not so much to improve cooling, but to reduce the noise. So the fan blades will actually tweak slightly to improve the acoustics when you are gaming, so it doesn't come out as it comes out as a whoosh rather than an annoying blower sound, right? Yeah, so it's more for the sound profile. But very interesting question. Yeah, we do have some units with games running, on our demo showcase. You could then, like, I think when it gets quieter, you can actually try and game and see whether you could actually be distracted by the noise. Yeah.
So, why make a laptop out of recycled plane parts, A? And B, do you know which part of the plane was recycled to make these laptops?
Okay, I am told that it's the fuselage, right? Why? Well, it's as much as we try to be a little bit more sustainable, right? It's recycled parts, it's discarded parts, right? As much as to get something, a cover, which is truly phenomenal, is unique, right? It's a statement piece. So we have a long history of playing around with carbon fiber, right? So for example, our ThinkPad X1 carbon, right? It's from carbon fiber. So it's actually playing into different parts of our Lenovo, our R&D teams, and our know-hows to bring together a product that is like a Legion II.
But why specifically a plane? Like, did you try with other recycled carbon from, say, failed submarines, Tour de France bikes?
Okay,
Like,
sorry, wow, this is very...
It's because the aluminium that the planes are made of is a specific alloy that's extra strong, so it gets used a lot in stuff, and so therefore it is a cooler, better alloy to use.
See, I know that bit, but I wanted him to say it in a cool way.
That's not so, no, but the carbon fiber is not so much on the alloys though. It's not so much on the alloys, it's the carbon fiber itself. But my understanding is our procurement does sourcing, right? So it's in terms of availability.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Sourcing, right? It's just material sourcing.
And it's
yeah.
because there's a lot of planes sitting in Vegas, with a lot of raw materials to use.
I can't comment on that, but yeah, it's our sourcing. We have to make sure that we were able to continue the supply, right, for this carbon fibers. Yeah.
this door's falling off quality.
Yeah.
I was thinking,
I can see that you guys like the Legion II, right? There's a lot of questions on Legion II. And the thing is, because we didn't talk a lot about Legion II today, because we've launched it like about five months back. So yeah, so I'm still surprised that we're having a lot of questions on II. Yeah.
In the Hyperreal, you also showed the Legion Go, which launched last year. Time's not making sense, but launched last year. I guess what's the reception been of that product? Has it met sales expectations? Do you think that it will be refreshed on a yearly cycle, or is it a one-off?
Wow, that's a lot of questions.
Yeah.
And we are very heartened by the response that we have for Legion Go, right? I can say that when we were developing the product, amongst the gaming market, the gaming handheld market out there, that is primarily with much smaller screens, it was it was not an easy decision to go with an 8.8-inch screen, right? So it was quite controversial actually within our teams to come to a conclusion to go with a Legion Go, which is 8.8-inch. We are the largest gaming
It's
handheld,
been received very well in Australia.
right? But
Very
it's been
well.
received
Launched
very well.
October, November, all retailers wanted a piece of that action.
Yeah.
We were asked for exclusivity by all of them.
Globally, I think we are very the response globally. Okay, I won't say global. Oh, sorry. Let me just correct. Asia Pacific, right? So within Asia Pacific, okay, we are very heartened by the response that we have from the markets that we've been launched in. Yes. Sorry, and that was. And then
Planning to continue with it.
planning continue. Yes,
Go to.
we are still spending a lot of resources improving on current Legion Go. Okay, we are still spending a lot of resources over the span of last 6 months since launch. We have unlocked from day one till now. We have unlocked a lot more experiences, and there are still engineering efforts to try to bring the next wave of features to the product. Right? So definitely it's a product category that we do see potential in, and we'll continue to invest. And we are looking towards, when the time comes, right? Of course, having a next generation to provide even more features, better features.
I know this is an event that's Lenovo, Microsoft, and Intel, but you've been very strong supporters of AMD in the past. How come there's no AMD in all the products that we see here at this event, or are they still coming?
Yeah, so this event is in partnership with Intel, right? But we are great partners with the ones right? We do have great partnership with them. I think it's just for another time. Yes.
I was curious, out of the models, is there a particular model, the 5i, the 7i, the 9i, the Pros, that is a standout, as a market favourite?
A market favorite. I think it depends. It differs from market to market. But I would say that our Legion Pro 7i, right?
Yeah.
Okay, has been very well received in the Australian market. Okay. It's the Legion Pro 7i. I would say that we have been continually hearing from our customers, wanting more of Legion Pro 7i being sent to Australia. Yeah, sales is
I think there are astute
great.
shoppers in Australia too. They're looking for a good deal and all the performance. They're well read. So yeah, the volumes we're driving through Australia are quite incredible. This quarter will be our biggest shipment for gaming.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So just jumping back on the 9i bandwagon here. So with the thermals there, I did see it's got you can take air in and out. It's got a different.
Yes.
Yeah, in and out.
Yes.
There. So is that because it's an improved design that makes it work better? And if it is, then why didn't we put it into the 7i as well?
Okay. Wow. Okay. So different times calls for different. I think Legion 9i was developed at a different time. At that time, we were still in the discovery phase for the hyperchamber, right? So Legion 9i was more or less like a more traditional way of cooling, right? 4 vents, lots of air intake, lots of air outwards, right? So and then we improve the liquid cooling, try to stabilize some of these peaks and trough of the performance, the power flowing through the systems, and then of course the heat generated. So that was a different time. But the 7i now, because as we develop and spend more time to develop a hyperchamber and to improve its efficiency, when we first came to develop it, it was not necessary. So we found that it was not necessary. Targeted airflow, very efficient airflow, still works better for 7i with the hyperchamber, right?
So-
Rather than having.
So maybe the next generation of 9i it will be a hyperchamber.
I can't.
But more
I
than
can't.
that. So go the other way instead.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I can't review for sure, but I
Yeah.
think we are definitely looking into all the different technologies that we know and our know-how, right? Marry all them together and see different technologies for different products.
The result of that 9i system is that there's a smaller touchpad, correct? Is that because of the vent on the
Yes,
top?
of course. It was a smaller touchpad, but the 9i in itself, it's still a feat of marvel of engineering, right? I mean, if you are talking about the amount of power that goes through it, it's a 16-inch form factor, right? It has 230 watts. If you look at some of the industry's 230 watts laptops, right, and you compare in terms of size, in terms of thickness, well, this 9i is a different class, right? So how do we, it's like something which, and we are giving the kind of same performance as well, right? So I think a lot of, if you do a lot of reviews and benchmark testing, you'll find that the 9i is able to deliver a lot of the performance which are closer to something which is a 17-inch, 18-inch, but now it's in a 16-inch form factor that is yet like less than 2 cm, right? So that is in itself is a marvel of engineering. Yeah.
So one of the big things about the new hyperchamber is that, as you were just saying, there are fewer vents on the side. But wouldn't it be more good, that's not how English works, but just go with me here, if there were still vents on the side? Like, why take out the vents? Wouldn't having more vents be good?
No, yeah, it doesn't, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. My R&D guys will probably be better explaining this, right? But no. Somehow the answer is no.
The answer is no.
Alice just wants to vent.
I do want to vent. I want to vent.
you want to vent?
But can you say the no in a sentence?
Okay.
That she can quote.
Yeah, that I can quote.
I think it's about efficiency. It's about think of it like a wind tunnel. We are creating a wind tunnel with which then, without spinning the fans as fast as, but you could move the air flow through the system at that rate, much higher rate.
That was good.
And also you were saying that the vents on the side was warming up people's hands, but the vents on the back, it doesn't do that.
Because your hand doesn't naturally, yeah, of course, yes.
But when it's so cold, I like that.
But essentially, it is trying to create a wind tunnel effect,
Okay.
and wind tunnel speeds the airflow without having external mechanical parts trying to move the air.
And from what you were also saying, it's a couple of degrees cooler.
Yes.
Just by doing that.
Yes.
And it's very hard to get much of a increase in cooling without doing other things. So this is actually a
Right.
cool.
Doing less things.
Yes,
Doing
exactly.
less things,
Yes,
but
doing less.
for more cooling, which
Right.
is very cool.
DLSS makes it has made it like much easier to get good gaming experiences on lower spec hardware in recent years. Does it make it harder to sell high performance laptops?
I would say the contrary, right? And that's why our Pro 7i, Pro 7i only features with the RTX 4080 and 4090 graphics, right? And yet we are having some record sales in Australia. I would say that it's always, the graphics processing is always trying to play catch up with the game developers, right? So as game developers, and I think there are a lot of game developers in Australia as well, right? As game developers utilize many of the technologies available to increase the visual fidelity of the games that you're playing, right? Higher resolution, used to be that people are comfortable with a full HD this resolution, and then you get 144 hertz, that's good enough. But today, you are seeing 16-inch laptops with QHD, right? Much higher resolution. Even some, like I think the PC Master Race trying to chase after 4K on the desktop, right? So 4K gaming. So there is always an inherent chase for gamers to want something which is replicates real life, right? You want realism. That's how you immerse yourself in the games. And as they chase after all this realistic visual fidelity and experiences for the games, then their requirements will be higher. They want higher frame rates. I want higher resolution. And so we found that as every generation of graphics cards that's released, like the Ada Lovelace has been released, the older generations are being obsolete. People just want to go for the newer things because they offer DLSS, better performance, and everybody's just chasing after performance to be immersed in their games. Yeah.
How long should a gaming laptop last?
How long?
How long should...
Depends. So this is individual, right? So it depends on your requirement. So for someone like me, right? I can't play CS:GO anymore somehow, right? Because or PUBG. Okay, I've tried PUBG. I go in, like within like a minute, I'm out.
I think
It's frustrating. Yes, it's the age thing, right? So so I can't chase after all this. So it doesn't matter for me whether the game is 240 hertz or not, right? So I'm like playing some old Witcher game, Witcher, Death Stranding, 60 hertz, 100 hertz. That's 60 is a bit low, but 100 hertz, right? But I like quality. I like to see all the shadows. I like ray tracing, right? Very realistic. I like to play on QHD. So, well, if you're always chasing for better visual quality, then you probably have to end up upgrading every, say, maybe 3 years, right? That's but what I do here, even as I come to this event, many of the influencers that come up to me and say, oh, I'm a fan of Legion. Oh, I'm still using the Wise 520. I'm like, oh, why 520? It's like 30, 40, 50. It's like we are Gen 9 now, so this is like 8 years old product, and people are still using it.
But they probably have two lives.
They probably
You've got the first person to buy it in terms of the bleeding edge technology. They might run it for as long as they see fit, 6 months, 12 months, until the next one comes out. They'll pass that on, and then that next person might have it for 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, yes. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. So it depends on the profile of the customer and the games that they play. Yeah, really.
Kind of a bit of a curious question, I guess, but obviously spending so much money in R&D, just trying to get the cooling better, trying to keep the weight down, the AI, all this type of stuff. But then also you've kind of got potential for a lot of this stuff to be taken off device, the processing, the computational stuff, what we're seeing with like Microsoft Cloud, that kind of thing. So do you guys have like a date or a timeline for that side of things in mind, where it's going to start impacting the form factor and the cooling and the amount of money that he's putting into this?
Okay, but okay, so that's the interesting, very interesting question, right? Because there is a lot of AI now on the cloud, right? A lot of things can be done on the cloud, right? But now this is the dilemma, right? When you have things on the cloud, there is always privacy concerns, right? Because anything that you want to do through a cloud server, you have to send some data over, right? There is also the backbone of running this cloud service, right? If you should know, like Microsoft, Google, etc., right? They are spending a lot of resources actually just keeping some of these servers running, right? And then you have Intel, like today, right? You announced chips with AI capabilities, right? And then we are going on to client. I do think that together with our partners, right, enabling AI chips that is available on the client side of things, right, and there are of course privacy and security concerns about sending information through the cloud to the cloud, that I think the future model will be more of a hybrid model, right? I do not think that everybody will be comfortable with sending all the information every time that you want to get some AI assistance, right? Now the beauty of all this AI capabilities now available on the client side of things will only enhance some of this usage, right? So I believe it's a balance. It will not be that everything will be moved fully cloud or everything will be fully client. I think it's going to be a good balance of having some things which are more private to you and confidential to you that you want to keep on the client side, and for things which you want more computational power and you may then harness some of the capabilities of the cloud. So probably a hybrid model moving on. Yeah.
And with the LA chip, the extra AI chip, what is that? I mean, I sort of already know the answer to that question, but what does it do again? And why couldn't you use the NPU to do it? Why did you need a separate chip?
Oh, we started launching this AI capability way before NPUs were available, right? So there was no AI, there was no NPU available at that point.
So what does the current LA chip do?
Well,
compared to the
so
one
that's
you launched originally.
yeah, for our Legion and Lock products, because we are using the 14th gen processors and not the Core Ultra, right? So the 14th gen processors do not have embedded NPU. So there is still a use for these AI chips, but I think you correctly pointed out that I think as the AI capabilities actually gets embedded onto future processors itself, the CPU itself, or rather the main chip itself, then some of this workload then could be balanced off to the NPU. Yes. Yeah. But for this generation 14th gen Intel Core processors across the entire Lenovo gaming lineup, right? HX processors, they do not have NPU inside. Yeah. So there's still purpose for our AI chip and our AI algorithm. Yeah. Have you seen how our AI? I'm sure. Maybe I can.
There are a lot of laptops.
Sorry?
There are a lot of laptops upstairs.
Yeah. Yes.
This one's real pretty though.
Yeah.
I like that.
So we have so the main control center is actually the Lenovo Vantage software over here, right? You can see over here, right, the thermal mode. Okay, so it's balance mode now. And under balance mode, there is I know it's pretty small, but if you could zoom. So it's actually enable Lenovo AI Engine Plus, right, to automatically detect gameplay and tune CPU or GPU performance, right? And then there's a second checkbox over here, which is Smart FPS Boost with AI Core. So that's how you enable. So if you do not want our algorithm working for you and you just want a static power meaning that we have this is I think under balance mode is I can't remember the actual numbers, but basically it's static, right? It sets the CPU power, it sets the graphics power, and it stays constant drop, right? It's only shifted from dynamic boost, okay? But when you check this box, right, on top of dynamic boost, the AI core does the automatic pushing of power to one chip or another. So this is how you enable it. So something which is I mentioned earlier as well, right? Is it's our custom tuning, right? Okay, I can't show it to you now because I don't have an adapter. I'm sorry, but if you were to be able to go out and try these systems again on the machines that we have plugged in, when you select custom mode and you click on performance over here, every single parameter of the graphics and the CPU can be I won't say every single, sorry. A lot of the parameters of CPU and GPU can be customized in this mode, right? So we are talking about things which a lot of the OEMs do not open up the customization. Things like you can actually set, say for example, if you are very exacting and you only want your graphics to go up to maximum of say 80 degrees, you can set it maximum graphics 80 degrees. Okay, or your CPU, okay, I don't want it to go above 97, I want it to be 95, you can set it to 95, and you will cap at 95, and then you will throttle. So, okay, or you don't care about throttling, okay, and you don't care that it runs really hot, you can even set it to 100 degrees, right? That's the maximum.
If you're going to do something dangerous.
We do have built-in safeguards.
There are safeguards.
Safeguards, and Intel processors actually do have built-in safeguards. So if you're trying to do something dangerous, typically it will just shut off, and then you have to reboot. Right.
And so these units don't have Intel Core Ultra because they were launched before Intel Core Ultra was available?
Not that, but we intentionally went with Intel 14th Gen HX and not the Core Ultra, right? Because it's a bold move, right? Intel 14th Gen HX are very high powered. They are essentially, if you see the chip itself, is huge. It's like a desktop processor. Okay, so it takes a different level of cooling to be able to manage these processors. But because we knew that we have hyperchamber, which is able then to be able to handle these processors and the graphics very efficient, cool them very efficiently, and that's why we decided to go with 14 Gen Core Ultra, 14 Gen HX across the entire lineup. Yeah.
And so it gives better performance than the...
Better performance, definitely, yes, correct.
So just a quick time check, we are left with 5 more minutes because there's another session back to questions from you guys?
I have a stupid question, but if somebody has a good question, they should go for that.
So we're seeing VR AR kind of heat up again with the Vision Pro and the Oculus. No, it's not Oculus anymore. The Meta Quest 3, and you did the Legion glasses last year. Is that still a space that you think Legion can play in?
We are actively we are continuing to look into that space, but I think in the grand scheme of things, it's still a very niche market, right? It's not really taken the world by storm. I think most average users have not even tried something like this. So it's still very early adopter. We have a specific department within Lenovo that just looks at AR VR. So definitely we are in the space.
How big is that department? Is it like 3 people, or is it like
okay
30
I can't go into that, yeah.
Okay.
But we are, we have a team of people essentially, right, looking into that space. But maybe it's not so much on the consumer play at this point. It could be, there's a lot of possibilities, right, for AR VR, right? Not just on gaming, right? There's also commercial use cases. Yeah.
Okay, so it's a stupid question. We both noticed that the hype video for Legion is going back to basics. Like it's got the dubstep, it's got the RGB.
Yeah.
Like it feels like it's like a return to the old culture. Why is that? What prompted that move? Tell us your stories.
Just on the hype video.
Yeah.
Oh, because the hype video is for you guys. It's not for. It's to get you.
Calling us old.
Is to get you guys excited with our products. No, I think the hype video, just the hype video. That was a question. That's a question. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
It shows a different attitude to how you're trying to sell the Legion laptops this year. It shows kind of a shift in how you're positioning it and who you're selling it to.
The hype video is actually specially made for this event and not customer facing.
Not telling what.
All right, so it's not customer facing. It is just meant for this event.
I'm going to get you in trouble.
Well, like a few years ago, it was definitely a trend towards having gaming laptops that you could also take to your workplace and were kind of more casual in that way.
You can stealth it.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to look like a gamer all the time. And now it's embrace it.
Okay, it's just I guess it's to bring a different flavor versus the rest of our product categories that you see on the screen, right? But if you've seen how we have developed the showcase area, okay, if you've seen how we developed the showcase area, okay, our products will put there in a row. That's our entire family. And if you look at an entire family, and if you put the lid down, nobody would know that it's a gaming laptop, right? So anyway, I mean, I'm just trying to. Okay, so the hype video. Okay, I would say that today we are bringing across many customers, many media and influencers, as well as some business partners from Thailand into one ballroom. And not many of our media and influencers across all the markets are familiar with Legion products. Right, so I believe that like in Australia, we're doing very well in the Legion brand, right? Okay, you guys are. I think some of you, at least, you came down for our event in November, right?
No, I wish.
You wish? Okay. So if you are familiar with our products, you have you know about Legion. You asked me about 9i. You're familiar with our products, but many of our media influencers, they may not have experienced many of our products on display or know a lot about Legion because they are some of tech media. So I think it's just to it's a hype video just to get a flavor of
that makes sense.
Yeah, but from a design perspective, right? From a product design perspective, okay, definitely, okay, something like this that I can bring into office. Okay, be it a white version or a black version, our products are still built to be very understated, and it is and will continue to be something that we will design our products moving on, right?
And continuing on the design and stupid things, will any of the other laptops in the Legion range also be made out of recycled aeroplanes?
Recycled airplanes are still very expensive as compared to the typical plastic, okay, or aluminum cover. So I'll say never say never, right? I'll say never say never, right? But again, I think some of price points, right? If you can get to the price points that majority of the customers can enjoy, then why not, right?
Cool. No, that's good. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for your questions. Yeah.